Ready?
We're going to start off, because it was we're going to start off with a niggin from the Chassidim of the Rebbe Marash. Hey,
Hey kids, what time is it?
It's time for Gezintahait Street.
It is time for Gezintahait Street, and the story for tonight is called The Rolling Rebbe.
That's a great title, Bitzalin.
When the Alter Rebbe would give a Hasidic discourse, certain Hasidim were assigned to listen carefully in order to be able to repeat the mimer. And the main chassid, they were called chosrim, and the main chassid designated for the job was Rabbi Pinchas Reizes. It wasn't an easy job. At times, the Alter Rebbe would get so ecstatic, he would roll around on the floor. And at those times, Rabbi Pinchas would fall on the floor next to the Rebbe, so he could hear every word that the Rebbe was saying. And Rabbi Pinchas reviewed one such mimer for the Alter Rebbe. In other words, after the Alter Rebbe said it, Rabbi Pinchas went over the mimer and said it to the Alter Rebbe. And when he repeated the Rebbe's words, when the Rebbe had been rolling around, the Rebbe said, exactly, it's a good thing. In other words, he didn't even remember saying it. But now that he hears it, he knows that what he said was good. Our Rebbe explains that even though the stories about the Alter Rebbe, it was his student, Rabbi Pinchas, who revealed what the Rebbe had said in his ecstatic excitement. And this is reflected in the Talmudic statement, from my students I received more even than from my teachers. The Alter Rebbe heard what he had said in the Farbrengen that he didn't remember, he said, from his student, Rabbi Pinchas. In this kind of service, the person is only opening his mouth, and out flows the word of Hashem, like we say when we daven the Shemona Esrei. Open my lips, how do you say it, and my mouth will sing it. So it's a matter of really Hashem speaking through the person. And this describes Moshe Rabbeinu. Like our sages say, the divine presence, the Shekhinah, spoke from the throat of Moshe. He had this ability that the godliness would just pour out through his mouth. And so what does it connect to us? Since every Jewish soul contains a spark of Moshe, we can all accomplish the same thing on our own level. Additionally, the Rebbe said that this kind of learning not only reflects a very elevated personal level of Torah learning, but it's an elevation for the Torah itself, when the person is so nullified that it is the Torah that takes over. The Torah contains many levels, like Chassidus tells us, and they include the revealed Torah, like Gemara. The mystical interpretation is manifest in Kabbalah and Chassidus. The inner level of the Torah, which is Chassidus, and what is that inner level of Torah? It's divine delight in the Torah's wisdom. And even higher, to the inner godly delight that's higher than Chachma, it's higher than wisdom altogether. And ultimately, it's possible to reflect the level of how Torah is one with Hashem's essence and being, even higher than the one that we just said. And this level is achieved by a person through the service of open my lips and my mouth will declare your praise. Vivant Mashiach. And there's a short piece about the Rebbe Rashab, and he went into his grandfather, Tzemach Tzedek. He was 5 years old. Tzemach Tzedek asked him what he had learned, which was Pashas Yisro, is the week of the giving of the Torah. Tzemach Tzedek said, Shavuos is the time of the giving of the Torah. The boy asked his grandfather, what is the difference? We got the Ten Commandments in Pashas Yisro, and we got the Ten Commandments on Shavuos. So what's the difference? I don't know. I don't know what the difference is. The boy said, you're the Zeta, you have to know. And the Rebbe Marash, the boy's father, was there in the room, and he indicated to the Tzemach Tzedek that the boy was correct, that he had to know. Tzemach Tzedek finally said, in Pashas Yisro, the king is in the field. On Shavuos, the king is in the inner chamber of the palace. So I think it's a good thing to think about.
Yeah. So, another niggin from the Hasidim of the Rebbe Marash. Ay bechabotchu aviseinu batchu vatfarteimei batchu aviseinu batchu vatfarteimei Ay bechabotchu aviseinu Batcho vatvarteimei Bechabotcho haveseino vatvarteimei Hey los nimlu Bechabotcho Batcho velei veyishu Hey lecho zoako V'ni yimlo oto V'chabotcho v'leveishu Hey lecho zoaku V'ni yimlo oto V'chabotcho v'leveishu Hey lecho zoaku V'ni yimlo oto V'chabotcho v'leveishu Ay bechabotcho aviseinu Ay bechabotcho aveiseinu batcho vatvateimei bechabotcho aveiseinu batcho vatvateimei bechabotcho aveiseinu batcho vatvateimei Hey lecho zako v'nim lotu Echo batcho v'lei v'yisho Hey lecho zako v'nim lotu Echo batcho v'lei v'yisho Hey lecho zako v'nim lotu Batcho v'lei v'yisho Heilecho za'ako v'nim lotu Batcho v'lei.
We have been following a schedule of one time I will, up to my abilities, say Torah wisdom from Chassidus. And then the next time, Gimel Elef here will repeat it in his own inimitable style. So that's the treat we have in store for us tonight. Gimel Elef is going to tell about the inner secrets and the inner dimension of the Shabbos meal of Friday night.
Well, Mitzalel, now behold, my dear brothers and sisters, on Shabbos it is revealed the level of pleasure, the upper pleasure called at the crown of
the holy ancient
the holy ancient one, and it is revealed into Chochmah of Atzilus. After all, that is always where something is revealed into. And it is revealed that because this happens on Shabbos, that's why the souls go up in Gan Eden when they rise to a higher level in Gan Eden.
They start off in the lower Gan Eden
Yeah.
during the week, and on Shabbos they go up to the higher.
Yeah, because there is a pillar in Gan Eden, in the lower Gan Eden, that with using this pillar, they go up. It's like an elevator, you know.
Beam me up.
Yeah, it's like an elevator shaft. They go up into the higher Gan Eden every Shabbos. You know, this is actually about this pillar. In the chamber of Mashiach, there was a pillar that he went up to go higher and higher and higher to get to the chamber of Mashiach.
I saw it written that the pillar is the Rebbe.
B'Tzalel, I wouldn't doubt that. Now, the idea here is like this. Because Chachma is called Eden on Shabbos specifically. Right? Like it says, and you shall call Shabbos Oineg.
Oneg.
You shall call Shabbos pleasure. Meaning that Shabbos is Moichin de Abba. It's the intellect of the father, meaning Chachma, yeah?
Yeah, but that's not what that's during the week.
Yeah.
On Shabbos, there's a new infusion from Kesser, from Atik, into Chachma, and that's why it's called Eden, which is higher.
That's how it becomes known as
higher
Eden.
than Seichel.
Because the upper,
In other words,
pleasure.
Hashem has a tainug in the creation, and that tainug comes in and is revealed through Chachma on Shabbos.
So that's the upper pleasure of Atik Yoimin, the holy ancient ones that comes into it.
Drips down, or whatever you want to call, into Chachma V'Tzilus. So Chachma is now manifesting that godly delight.
And it's called
Eden.
Eden. And this is why Bina is called Gan Eden, the Garden of Eden. Why? Because Bina receives from the Chachma, and they are called Trein Rein Deloy Mispardin, the two lovers that don't separate. But in Chachma, the pleasure is still in a hidden way, in the hiddenness of Chachma. However, in Bina, it becomes revealed. And we see this, when a person is when they have a flash of an idea, and they haven't yet split it into an understanding.
Higher than words and letters.
It's higher than voice, and so there's no joy in that. And when they understand it in a way that they can explain it, even if they can just explain it to themselves, then aha, now I get it, and they get joyous. And so in Bina it comes, this joy, this pleasure comes in revelation.
And that's called the garden.
Yeah. Just like Bina, because Bina itself also it reveals and it spreads out to the length and the width, etc. And this is why in the revelation of Atik Yomin, of the Holy Ancient Ones, it's specifically in Bina and not in Chachma. Right? Like it says in another Maimer. And this is why Bina is called the Garden of Eden, because the revelation of Chachma, which is called Eden, is in the Garden of Eden, Bina.
It's revealed over there in the garden.
And that is where the Neshamas go up on Shabbos, right? And it says the Maili Shabbata, in Kigavon and the Inun. Right? It says the Maili Shabbata, the elevations of Shabbos, the high places of Shabbos. Like it is explained in Zohar in various places. Now, the ray of the pleasure, it also encloses itself in Chachma. However, it is only a ray.
It's not the essence of the Chachma.
Yeah, because it comes from the, because it right, and it has no even comparison to the essence of the actual pleasure itself. It's just a ray of the pleasure, just like the sun and the ray of the sun. That the ray of the sun has no comparison to the sun itself. So too the ray that of the upper pleasure that reveals itself in the Chachma does not have a comparison to the essence of the pleasure itself. Like we can see with our own eyes, that when a person is dealing with some kind of enjoyment, some kind of pleasure, that is enclosed in some kind of a thing. Like for example, if it's in a new intellect, understanding something new,
a new idea, like
or in a traveling, seeing a new place, or in a beautiful painting or something like this. So this pleasure comes from where does it come from? It comes from the essence of pleasure in his soul. But it comes only as a drawn down light. Because in the essence of the pleasure that is in his soul, there is the ability to have enjoyment, anything whatsoever. And it can change from one type of pleasure to another type of pleasure. And it can also make that he won't receive pleasure from something that he doesn't want. And so on and so forth. So we find that this pleasure that comes and encloses itself in a specific thing, like we said, like our intellect,
6 days of the week.
Yeah.
In the Nimshal, it's the 6 days of the week.
Yeah. So it is only a drawing down and a small ray, merely a small ray, that is drawn down from the essence, but it's not the essence itself.
From the pleasure center.
Yeah. Because the potential pleasure is a hiyuli. How would you say hiyuli in English? It's an ability for any possible
The
outcome.
ability to generate whatever you want.
Yeah. And it includes in it any possibility that can come out of it, that can come revealed from it in a revealed pleasure, as is explained in another Maimer. And therefore we must say, or it must happen, that it goes up and the pleasure that is elevated in
the
Chachma.
pleasure in the specific thing,
Yeah.
which is the 6 days of the week.
Yeah, so we'll have to go
And
elevate
the
back
pleasure
up.
in that is manifest through Chachma on
Yeah.
Friday night from the Holy Ancient One, which is the godly time. But once the person gets taina from that specific pleasure, that pleasure then can go up and be included in the essential pleasure center in the person's
So it
soul.
goes and gets back up and
So it's like the...
So it's like a bouncing Rebbe Tzvi?
No, it's like the specific thing now doesn't take any place because the king is getting pleasure in his own essence. It started from the fact that he completed this thing that he got pleasure from.
Bitzalel, is that sort of when people say, hey, remember at that time we went in that place and we got ice cream? Oh, and you think, and the pleasure, but the ice cream hasn't been there for 2 years. That was 2 years ago.
Could be.
But they still say, oh, remember we went, and they get found out of just thinking about it, they get pleasure from this. And so the pleasure comes back up from the Chachma and gets included in the essence of the pleasure.
Which is the
is
holy ancient one.
Is that the Makar HaTanugim, the source of all pleasures?
I think so.
Yeah, so this is the holy ancient one, the source of all pleasures. And this happens specifically on Shabbos, like it says, Vayechulu HaShomayim ve'ha'aretz v'chol tzivam, and he finished the heavens and the earth and all of the legions, and also Vayechal Leikim B'yim Mashvi, and he finished on the seventh day. Now, Vayichlu Vayechal, you could say finished, but it also comes from Kivoyon HaNefesh, from the pining. It means the pining. I learned that word from Monty Python, by the way. Comes from
yearning, I think.
Yeah, pining. Pining is an extreme yearning of the soul.
Yeah.
So don't ever say Monty Python doesn't teach you anything. This is avoid pining. And it's used also in the old translations of Tanya. I had to look it up in Hebrew to understand what the English was saying. So anyways, this is like the pining of the soul, the deep yearning of the soul. Like it says, Kol so nafshi, my soul is pining for you. It means a great and deep yearning.
Koloyon?
Yeah, it means
like a fainting out.
Yeah,
like
but it means a fainting that comes from such yearning.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
That's why I said the word for it is actually pining. Pining means this.
Good, but the coal deal.
Yeah.
That's the kala. That's the koloyon. I don't think that is the yearning itself.
No,
I think that's the going out.
The koloyon is the going out. Yeah, but it's
so.
It's a yearning to the point of going out of the self.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how does that connect with Hashem?
So similarly, it is also the going up of the ray of pleasure that encloses itself in the whole creation. That the
Hashem
source
has
of all
pleasure in the 6 days of creation.
Yeah.
But that ray, that pleasure that's in it,
goes back up
and becomes included in
him. Because all of the source of all of the creations is in Chachma, as is known. And in the essence of the pleasure. And this is what it means, Vayechulu HaShamayim, that it was like finished and included in the essence of the pleasure, of the upper pleasure, that is in the essence of the Matzil, meaning the one who made Atzilus, the how do you say the one? The emanator, yeah. And this is the meaning of Oz Tis'anag al Havaya, and then you will have enjoyment on Havaya. Perush al, what's the meaning of al? On Havaya. L'mayla m'shem Havaya, higher than the shem. The name Havaya is the 4-letter name, the Yud and a Hey and a Vav and a Hey.
Like when you see it in the Siddur, it's just 2 Yuds, because it is so recondite and hidden and powerful, we don't pronounce it.
Not in my Siddur, it's all of it written down.
Okay.
The Alter Rebbe Siddur.
Yeah, but not everybody
But
has
you can't say it.
That's
Well,
Torah. Is that called
Betzalel-
Torah or?
Yeah, but that's why they I think they took it out in the newer ones, because it was made for the people of someone in a Chabad might not yet realize you're not supposed to pronounce it, so they took it out. But in the original one, they have it even, because you're supposed to only see it and not pronounce it.
Okay, but how many letters does it contain?
Because the name Havaya has 4 letters, which is, one is Chachma and Bina, the Yud, that's the Yud, and the first Hey. And the Midos, right, the 6 emotive attributes, which this is the Vav. And then Malchus, which is the second Hey, which, right, it spreads out also like Bina.
So I would think like Malchus, that will be thought and speech. The
Yeah.
emotions, which is
Yeah,
the
I
Vav,
like to use
come
expression.
up
Yeah.
and is expressed through Malchus.
Yeah.
How does it express? Through thought.
To thoughts and speech and letters, yeah. And this is now the Yud has a thorn on top of it. And this thorn, this is that ray, like we said before, that comes from the crown of Chachma, that comes from the ancient, from the holy ancient one, comes a ray, and that's what this thorn is on top of the Yud.
And then through the thorn,
Yeah, so now,
that ray is manifest into Chachma.
yeah, and this happens on Shabbos. Because on Shabbos there is a going up of this ray, it goes back up, and it gets included back in the essence of the
Emanator?
Back in the emanator's essence. So this ray that he put out gets back included in him, and this is why it says, then you will have pleasure on Havaya, higher even than the thorn of the Yud that is in the name Havaya in Atzilus. Because then it is revealed the essence of the pleasure, the upper pleasure, which is in the essence of the emanator mamish, literally, that is included and nullified in him. This meaning this ray that comes in the Chachma is now nullified and included back in the emanator.
And I think it's the same thing as the mashal he gave of a person. After the person makes a thing, and now he rests, and his powers come back to him, and he gets pleasure from this thing that he made, that pleasure goes up and becomes included in the pleasure center of his soul. So that's this ray that we're talking about that goes up and becomes included in the emanator.
Yeah.
Hashem's pleasure in the 6 days of creation finally becomes his essential pleasure, how it's manifested in himself.
So
on the morning meal of Shabbos,
morning meal.
that becomes revealed.
So it comes out, it emerges from this, that we can understand that there is 3 levels. One is the ray of Chachma, as it is in the 6 days of creation. That the light of the crown, the light of the emanator, is enclosed in it. However, it is in a great, it is greatly hidden and greatly contracted. It's how do you say, tzimtzum gadol?
Yeah, a very contracted state.
Yeah.
That ray of godly pleasure is not revealed because the action of creating this stuff is what is dominant.
Like it says, "Va'chochma me'ayin timotzi," that the chochma comes from the nothing through a great contraction. That's the first level.
So
the second level,
what is that nothing? That's which is higher than the thorn.
from the emanator
The
himself.
thorn is
in other
a
ways.
something, but higher than that thorn, there is
Right, the thorn comes to a
the
point.
godly pleasure in himself.
Yeah, it comes to a point, and after the point, there's nothing more.
Right. But that from that nothing is where this chachma comes out from.
So that's the first level. The second level is the ray of the emanator of the in Chachma in a way that it's revealed, which happens when only on Shabbos.
That's what Chachma is called.
Like it says.
Eiden.
Yeah,
Chachma is called
Chachma is
Eiden.
Eiden.
Yeah.
Like it says, and you will call Shabbos pleasure. And the third level is the essence of the upper pleasure itself, that is way higher even from the altogether from this ray, and that it shines and reveals itself on the day of Shabbos. And therefore, we say we say specifically by the day, we say in the daytime kiddush, we will have joy, we'll have pleasure on Hashem, on higher, even than the name of Hashem that is not Atzilus.
Is it me that's getting the pleasure? It's Hashem is getting the pleasure.
Yeah, Hashem is getting the pleasure. But you're getting it from that we get the pleasure.
Yeah.
That's how we're supposed to have pleasure on Shabbos. Now, after this, that was the introduction. Now, after that introduction, then we can now start to understand the source of the 3 meals of Shabbos in a general way. And then we will explain the specifics of the above mentioned minor. That it is written, Sheishes Yomim Osa Havayas Hashemayim V'Sa'oretz. 6 days Havayah made the heavens and the earth, and on the 7th day he rested. And it is known that the explanation of these 6 days is that they are the 6 lines of Atzilus. The light of Chesed of Zeir Anpin of Atzilus shines on the first day, right? The Chesed is the first of the first line of the 6 midos. So the first day Chesed, kindness, shines. On the 2nd day, the judgment shines.
Stormy Monday.
Stormy Monday. Now, and each one of them, of course, is included from many levels, because the kindness is not just kindness; it includes kindness of kindness and strength of kindness. As we know now, we are counting the Sfiras HaOmer, and each day is one day is the Chesed of Chesed and then the Gevurah of Chesed.
Which reminds me, maybe we should count the Omer.
Yeah,
already.
it's not a bad idea.
You want to do a Niggun first, and then we'll do the Omer?
Let's do a Niggun. Let's see. We do this one because for the Ramash. Ya 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 hoy ya 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 hoy amamo yananam amamo yananam amamo yanadaram ya 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 amamamo amamam hoy amamamai ya 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 oh ya na ya 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 na ya 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 oh ya na diraya mam oh ya na mam oh ya na ya ya yo ay ay ho yenaroy ay yenaroy tiriya mama 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 tiriya mama 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 ho ya ya tiriyo yenama ya mama mama deyo ya mama mama Ay, 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 teyoyena mochenam. Ay, 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 oyenanam. And now,
count the Omer?
yeah, time to count the Omer.
This is, by the way, everybody, this is a big mitzvah. And Hashem gets a lot of pleasure when you do the counting. So Gimel Aleph is going to say it slow, and you repeat after him.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you a svira. I'm going to tell you slow. Because the Eberster is cooler than Eskimo. I'm going to say it white for white so we can repeat. I'll say it in Hebrew and in English. Hayoim.
Hayom.
Shnayim.
Nayim.
Ve'esrim.
Esrim.
Yoim.
Yom.
Sheheim.
Hey.
Shloisho.
Moshe.
Shavuos.
Shavuos.
Ve'yoim.
Yom.
Echod.
Echod.
Lo oimer.
Yom.
Today
Today
is 22 days.
is 22 days.
Which they are 3 weeks
3 weeks.
and 1 day
1 day
of the Omer.
of the Omer. Yay!
That's
Beautiful.
right. Good job, everybody. So now, let's see, where was I? So you know, it says that 6 days he made the oath, and then on the 7th day he rested, just like a person. Like a person, when a person does voik, that all of his energy and strength spreads out into that voik at the time he's doing it. And when he rests, it's called naicha derucha, like what do you call it, like a resting spirit.
His spirit goes back to him.
Yeah, it
He
goes
rests.
back to him as his
All
name.
his powers return that he's been
And
using.
this is why it's called vayinofash, like nefesh.
Correct.
Shebo
He gets
el
his soul
atzmusai. What a beautiful it's Shebo el atzmusai, that he comes back
To
to his
himself.
essence, to himself. He comes back to himself, and this is the marshal, the allegory, to understand in a general way the idea of the going up of the voiles on Shabbos. That when he rests,
Particularly on Friday night.
yeah, that when he rests, right, when the emanator rests,
First there
from
was the
spreading
work
out,
of the 6 days, and then on
Yeah.
Friday night he rested
so he's
from
spreading
it.
out into
He
the
came
void.
back to himself.
And then he comes back to himself. And so automatically what happens also is all the voiles go up with it. Now the main thing of this going up to the essence is specifically when he finishes the voik. And also, that is only on the condition that he is pleased with the voik that he did. You know, if a person comes back from the voik and he finishes the voik and he wasn't happy with it, he's very miserable. But when he's happy with the voik, then he really comes back to itself. Then he gets a great joy and a great pleasure. And like we see in a physically, that when a person makes a spectacular creation, like a vessel of silver that came out very, very beautifully. So now, when he finishes the voik in such a beautiful way, like the way that he wanted to from the bottom of his heart, and his desire to become glorified through the making of this vessel, then he gets a very great pleasure from the beauty of this vessel that he made.
That he made.
Yeah, and also that when it's made in the ultimate of beauty specifically, as he wanted to do it, so then he gets a great joy in the same thing like with a painting. Right? He makes a painting, same thing. But
Correct.
if it was not made beautifully and it did not come out the way he wanted, then he doesn't get any, in fact, like we said, he'd be probably very miserable. He worked all week and it didn't come out how he wanted it. So from this it comes out that certainly he had a desire and a pleasure in a way of from this vessel before he made it. Meaning he already had an idea what he wanted to make.
Yeah, he had.
It was all planned out. Yeah.
That's a thing that's going to bring me a lot of good feeling.
Yeah, because otherwise, how he could plan out something that he didn't think about already? And he knew that he was going to make it like this way, and therefore he can get joy from it. And when it came up in his desire to receive pleasure from this specific beautiful thing,
that he would make afterwards.
Yeah, that he was going to make it. So now, after it's made, it becomes revealed that this was what he wanted to make in the first place. How you know? Because he's getting great enjoyment in it. So that's how you know that this is what he wanted to make, and it came out right. Because in the time that he is busy and in the middle of the Vaik, the pleasure is completely concealed in this thing he's making. And it's not revealed only till after he finishes it all together, that then he sits back and says, oh, look at this, what I made. And only if it came out with the pleasure in the way that he wanted it to be. That in the time that he's making the vessel, he pictures it in his mind, and how do you say his tevuna, in his understanding, his contemplation, and in his midos, in his attributes. And he has to see it very, very good in the eye of his mind in order to have that picture in front of him so that he can then make it that way. And he can't picture anything else. He has to be hyper-focused on this. So it comes out that this pleasure was faced in a very simple way, without being combined with anything. And with the power of the intellect, that he was able to
figure it out.
He was able to figure it out and make this vessel that was like the picture, that it should be exactly like it was in his desire and in his pleasure. And when he finishes it, then the pleasure goes back to being, again, a simple idea, a simple joy, and then he has to figure out how to make it into all the components so he can make the thing. But then when he finishes it, it goes back to being a simple pleasure, without being comprised of different pieces again.
So, and I think his point is that's the going back after he gets pleasure from this specific thing. Then it goes back to the simple pleasure in his pleasure center in himself.
So meaning like he has in his mind this vessel, but then when he's making it, he has to think, I'm carving this flower, I'm carving this. But then when he looks at it after, he goes, oh, what a beautiful silver vessel. He doesn't say, what a beautiful flower on the silver vessel.
Yeah.
Because now it goes back to his simple pleasure.
But I think that's what you're describing now is still the pleasure in the specific thing, in this thing that he made.
Yeah, also when it goes,
It's
you're
not-
saying even
but
not even in the thing
afterwards-
itself at all.
Right.
You mean like a
Afterwards,
pleasure
when it
in
goes back
himself.
to him, it's like he feels pleasure,
Right.
but it's not because of
It's
that
not because
thing.
the thing, it's I did it.
But it's
Me,
But
yay.
it's that thing goes back. It's not even I did it. There ain't no it.
Yeah.
It's just me feeling good.
Just feels good, yeah.
The king gets pleasure in his own essence.
Yeah. And also this pleasure, when it came up in his mind to have pleasure
Before he
from this
made it.
specific thing,
Yeah.
this picture. So it comes and it's drawn down from the essence
From the pleasure
of the
center.
pleasure, which includes any possible pleasure that could possibly come, and it's called the hiyuli of tainug. It can generate any kind of pleasure.
Tainug hapashat ha'yuli.
Yeah. And this pleasure has no comparison to him at all, because the essence of the pleasure is simple, and it is in the ultimate of simplicity. And this pleasure is brought down, even though that is just a simple pleasure, a simple light still, right, before any intellect has come into it. Still, it is a pleasure that is connected to this vessel. Even though it's still a simple pleasure, it's not in him alone. It is already has to do with a thing. Which this is the picture, what he's picturing in his mind of this beautiful thing. But the actual essence of pleasure, it does not even split the thing at all. Why? Because it's just a hiyuli, it's just a possibility for any pleasure at all. Which is called the source of all pleasures.
I'm thinking, and I don't know if this will help, but I'm thinking, for example, when a person eats a spoonful of honey, he likes honey, and he eats a little bit of honey.
Yeah.
So the first thing is he gets pleasure from that taste of the honey. But then afterwards, his pleasure is just the shining out pleasure of him feeling good. It's the honey that accomplished it, but the honey is not part of the pleasure anymore, and the taste of the honey is not. It's his pleasure in himself, how it's manifest inside of himself. Does that help a little?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
I put them on. Here we go. Okay, so now,
I don't think you have to go into the third day yet. You want to start doing that? I think we're okay already. We'll do the third day next time.
yeah, no, I have to finish just this paragraph here.
Finish it up.
So, yeah, but only a small, how do you say, efetz kotzehu bilvad, like a
smidgen.
a smidgen of it, barely anything of it,
Of
is
that
drawn
pleasure,
down
a
into this.
smidgen of the pleasure.
Is drawn down into this specific thing when he wants to have pleasure in it.
No, that he got after he made it.
It's still in there.
I believe so.
Okay, and this is only a ray and a drawing down merely of the essence, and like we said before, longer. And
You
if
get
so,
it?
if so, when he finishes making the vessel, even though the light of the pleasure goes back to the beginning of the pleasure that he wanted, still both of them together, even the higher one, is no comparison and similarity at all compared to the actual essence of the power of of pleasure.
In the soul itself.
Still, we understand that when the ray goes up, after he finishes it, when it finishes in all of its parts and all of its details, then when it goes up, he rests and he sits back easy from the voik, and he receives a great pleasure. So then it goes up and is included in the enjoyment. Vivant? Gezintahait,
Remember, kids, Gezintahait.
Gezintahait.